Success and failure is strictly dependent on you. You are in front of me or you are not in front of me. I am going to be successful. My success and my failure is based on me and only me. There are two things. Number one is a level of skill, is a level of effort. Some people are born inherently with more skill. If you don't just have the natural God-given ability, what could you then control? It's the effort piece. I can just outwork you. And I just think the person that outworks will always be a better overall leader and team member than the person that just has the natural skill. I'll start off by saying this. If you're at a job where you're not being fulfilled from a financial perspective, number one, chasing the money isn't the route to go. Money can motivate people, but it's so short term. The minute you get it, you're just gonna chase a bigger box. It never works.
The cold water doesn't get warmer if you jump late.
The fear of the unknown, whereas when you're working on your own, you're like, okay, what's the next thing that I gotta do? And you're looking around for someone to tell you, there's nobody there. You know, as much as everyone wants to be a business owner and they feel like that's like you've made it in life, the problem is when I look up, there's nobody. Another newsflash to the audience. The likelihood that your kids are gonna be able to buy a house in the next 15, 20 years is probably about that small.
Really?
Oh yeah. So this is where leaders mess up constantly. They're like, oh, I'm a very empathetic leader. You can't be an empathetic leader. Do you know why?
Why?
Because we are all of us.
During this episode, I told Ali that the number one reason I wanted to do this with him is because I feel like in our community, there are these born leaders. We have it in us, our ability to lead, our ability to perform on the highest level. But I think where it gets caught up a lot of times is we don't know how to do it properly. Ali grew his company into the number one mortgage purchase brokerage in Southeast Michigan. And you'll see the style of this podcast episode is a little different. We're kind of throwing ideas off of each other and discussing them. Wherever you are in your life, wherever you are in your career, in your relationship, there is something to learn here. And subscribe to the podcast if you haven't yet. It's the free and easy way to support the show, and it's really appreciated. And with that being said, let's get the show started.
Welcome aboard Middle East Airlines.
والمتوجهة إلى طيران الشرق الأوسط يرحب مدينة تونس العربية.
Ali, welcome back.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Of course. Ali, I asked you, how do you see yourself when you look in the mirror last time? And this was your answer. From the top of the dome, Ali is a 34-year-old business owner, father to an amazing daughter, Luna, husband to an amazing wife, Aya. My biggest two blessings in this world. I'm an avid astrophotographer, gamer, and any and all things racing. How does that intro change like a second time around?
Yeah, you got to add a couple things to it now. I'm 37, so I can't believe we did this that long ago. It felt like just yesterday, which is really funny. Now I don't only have two blessings in life, I have a third. Her name is Tala. She's now 8 months old, so we got to add her to the mix. The astrophotography is I don't get to do it as much as like I used to because business has just been skyrocketing, but it's still avid there. Gaming, same thing, all about it. Death Stranding 2 came out, amazing game. You're literally just delivering packages, but it's like you got to be really strategic with it. It makes your mind roll. And all things racing. The Hungarian Grand Prix is today. It just started at 10 o'clock, so people are already texting me, and I said, don't tell me anything. I'm doing a podcast. I'll watch it when I get home. So, yeah, those are all the same. And I'm very, very thankful that those are the only things that have changed in my life. I like consistency. And I feel like I've built a life of mine that if I look back 20 years ago and I said, where do I want to be when I'm 37? I think that's exactly where I am right now.
Really?
So I'm very happy that I only added my daughter a couple more years to my life, and other than that, everything has been pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you would add more stuff, if I'm being honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, like we live in this like era of abundance where we always just want more and more things.
Right.
But isn't it like if you sit back and you ask people what type of life they want to live, and a lot of people will tell you like, oh my God, I would love to live in like this like little farmhouse with like a ton of acreage of land and my kids are playing. It's like the simple life, right? We talk, even people in our culture, they say, oh my God, the people in Lebanon, regardless of what's happening, they're living life because it's just such a simple existence. Mm-hmm. So we live in this era of abundance where you're like, I want to keep adding more and more things, where when things stay pretty consistent, but consistently good, it's almost more refreshing than you just adding more things to your plate.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
If you just talked about yourself 20 years ago, how was his mentality kind of different to where you are? Like, what was he thinking about?
more. Just give me more. Like, I want more. I want more money. I want more. I want to go out more. I want to enjoy myself more. I want to take more risks in life.
Did he know what he wanted to do in life?
Absolutely not. Does anybody know 20 years ago? I mean, I would have been 17 years old. If somebody has their life figured out at 17, I'm going to applaud you. No, absolutely not. No.
Especially like in the field that you went into, it's not what you write down in like third grade when they tell you what you want to be when you be older. And I would say comfortably like 100% of the time the answer is not I want to own a mortgage company.
Yeah.
Right? But you kind of fell into that.
Yeah.
Was that by choice or like by fate?
I think I was just, so if we want to talk about the company and where it is, I think it was almost like pushed in that direction, right? You know, I worked for a really large lender downtown that a lot of people worked for, and found a lot of success there. And I learned the majority of what I know in business, I've learned from that place. Interacted with great people, built relationships with great people. I've probably had 3 or 4 stages of life where I became a totally different person, right? As a kid, teenager, mid-20s, early 30s to where I am now. And it's all because of the people that you interact with. And a lot of them were mentors of mine or people that I worked with over at that mortgage company. And when I decided to make that transition out of, I guess, retail mortgages, I went to the first person that I knew would always give me great advice, and that was my best friend, Joe. Older than me. Joe now I think is in his mid-40s, just celebrated his birthday. And I remember sitting at his kitchen table the day that I decided that I was done with retail banking. And I said, I just don't know what to do. He's like, well, just come in and be a private broker where you can just do mortgages for friends and family, people that you know, what he was basically doing at the time. And it was like the fear of the unknown, because everything was so set up for you when you work in a corporate environment where it's like you just show up to work and everything you need to do is laid out in front of you. You just got to execute, right? Whereas when you're working on your own, you're like, okay, what's the next thing that I got to do? And you're looking around for someone to tell you, but there's nobody there. So Joe and I kind of decided to just partner up at that point, and it was just 2 guys writing mortgages in their basements. He was in Canton, I was in Dearborn. We used to call it the Canton office and the Dearborn office. It was literally just our basements. And then eventually turned into what we have now, which is 11,000 square feet, a little bit over 30 team members, all within, I don't know, call it less than 4 years. And when I say we tripped over it, I mean we tripped over it. It was, we have a collection of talent that I think is the greatest collection of talent ever assembled in the history of mortgages. Like the group of people I work with, they're exceptional. And while we didn't start off by saying we're going to go open this company and build it into what we've so far built it into, we just started getting so many talented people coming through the door that it was like you couldn't turn them away. Imagine a bunch of Joffres coming around and you have like a media company like this, and like 10 of you guys show up one day and you're like, well, I don't really need you, but you're so good that I have to find a spot for you.
Right.
And that's essentially what ended up happening. So Joe and I just allowed these people that just showed up at our door to post up and run shop, and they've helped us essentially build it from 2 guys in a basement to where we are now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Let's go back to the unknown part. What do you think about the cold water doesn't get warmer if you jump late?
The cold water doesn't get warmer if you jump late. I mean, it's a great line. I've never, ever heard of it before. I mean, I can understand the thought process of it. It's not going to get any better. You might as well take the leap now, right? Why do people wait so long to make a decision, or why do people wait so long to take a risk that may benefit them? Yeah, it's the fear of the unknown, but maybe they think it's going to get a little bit better. Maybe they think the water is going to get a little bit warmer, but it's not. So you might as well just take the leap, and you might as well go. We have a great team member over with us. He's our VP of sales. His name is Chris, and he sent me an article yesterday, which was interesting because it kind of falls into that, where it talks about just always playing it safe and trying to be safe. And I think I've always put myself in that kind of realm where, like, I didn't want to take too much risk because there are lives that depend on me, and I need to make sure that they're taken care of. But then when you realize that whatever goals or ambitions you have, it's going to be very hard to ever reach them if you don't end up taking risks. And when I read that, it resonated because I, again, always thought of myself as somebody that was safe. I wouldn't jump in the cold water right away. I would wait for it to warm up a bit. But then eventually I looked back at my life and said, no, hold on. I've taken a lot of risks in life. I just never looked at them as risks. I thought they were the safe option. But now, looking back, they were very risky. And they worked out great. So to me, that line just means take the leap and see what happens.
Summer travel is exciting, but if you're leaving the country, make sure you come back without problems. Amir Maklet has helped so many families avoid the heartbreak of being stopped at the airport or denied re-entry. Whether you're a visa, green card holder, American citizen, or have a pending immigration status, one quick call before you travel can help ease all that stress that you might have. Don't risk your return. Make the right call. Contact Hal Maklet. I have all the information that you need in the description of this episode, and make sure that you can go have fun on your vacation and come back without any stress. Now, back to the episode. Yeah, here's another one that plays into that. It's just make it exist. The book, the business, the product, the idea. When something exists, you can improve on it. You can learn from how good or bad it is. But when it doesn't exist, there's nothing to improve. There's no way to get any type of result because it's trapped in your head. So don't try to make something good. Your only job is to make it real.
Yeah.
And you kind of have to put it out into existence and then figure out what you want to do with it.
How do you think that resonates with you and what you've built here with this podcast from when we started, when I was 34, now I'm 37?
Yeah.
Did you ever have any reservations about like starting something like this and doing it?
Yeah, the first episode was What Are You Afraid Of? That's what it's called, and I recorded that with myself. And that was the theme of the 21 beginning episodes that I did with myself. Is I just want to make something exist. I just want to put it out there. I knew it sucked. I couldn't stand listening to my own voice, but you kind of just have to put it out there, and then, okay, I'll reassess after 21 episodes. And there's a story that I've mentioned multiple times about why 21 was the magic number, because 90% of podcasts don't go past episode 3.
Really?
And out of the 90% that do go past episode 3, 90% of those don't go past episode 20. So if you make 21 episodes, you're in the top 1% of podcasts ever recorded, just based off of the numbers. And it kind of shows you how easy it is, because 21 is a kind of a very simple number, but it showed how easy it could be to make it into something worthwhile. So I'm like, okay, let me do 21 and then I'll reassess after that. So I needed it to exist for 21 episodes, and that's kind of what I did, 21 episodes alone, and then I started having conversations. So this resonates with me a lot, because this is kind of the mentality that I had when it came to this.
Yeah, I 100% agree. There are times where you look at something and it's in your mind. You've met them and you've probably interacted with these people that are like, hey, I have this great idea. And they tell you about this app they want to create or this business that they want to open. And then you just look at them, because I do it all the time. Mm-hmm. I say, all right, what's stopping you? Because it's either ambition or it's financial. And financial is a very easy thing to fix. Mm-hmm. There are a million people that will invest in great ideas. There are some people that have so much money, it's like, hey, I'll throw $50,000 at somebody. Not that I believe in the project, but I just believe in the human in general. But then there's the ambition or the courage to want to actually take that leap, and you want to do it. It exists in my business like every single day. You know, my guys come up to me all the time. I run a very open group. And what I mean by that is, like, my door is always open. So my guys will come in, my guys and my gals will come in and say, hey, I got a great idea how to help the business. And I immediately say, shoot, go ahead. Let me hear it. And then I say to myself, every time they're done, I say, so why aren't you doing it now? Hey, we can do 1, 2, 3 with these certain things that can help us reach out to more clients, right? We have these campaigns where we're constantly reaching out to past clients about things that we can do for them now, markets down, how we can benefit them. And one of my guys would say, like, hey, if we just wrote an email that said 1, 2, 3, it will resonate more with the client, explaining this is where the market is, this is what their current rate is, here's how much money they can save. And then I look at them and I just say, so why don't you just go do it? Just go take the risk. He's like, well, I want to check with you first because I know it could impact the business. I go, well, go take the chance. You're in this business the same way I'm in. We're in this together. If you succeed, I succeed. If your plan fails, then I also fail. But as a leader, that's my job. Like, it's my job to empower you to make a decision. I don't want a group of followers. We talked about that in a video I posted yesterday. I want a group of leaders. So it's like, just go out there and just do it. And it's okay to mess up. When you mess up, I'll pick you back up, and we'll get it. What's the worst case scenario? We lose some money out of it, but at least we learn from it and we move on. So I love that line. I just think people need to don't even look at it as risks. You got a great idea, just take the chance.
Yeah.
Just what's the worst case scenario?
You know, when you're saying this, I'm thinking about what type of individual that walks into your office would you take more seriously over the other? I think that's a valid, I think, thought process. Like, if 5 people walk in, which out of the 5 are you most likely to take the most serious? And that will all depend on what you think.
Yeah, so this happens every day. I want you to picture yourself running a company of 30 folks, right? Number one, you're always going to have your inner circle of people that are on the ground, whatever business that you're running. In my case, it's mortgages. So we're talking about the people that are physically on the phones assisting the clients. I have an inner circle. So of the 30, I would probably say there's like 5. That anytime I'm about to make a decision, I bring those 5 into a room and I have conversations with them, right? And I say, here's my idea. I am the owner. I can make any decision I want, obviously with my partner Joe's input as well. But at the same time, who's better to make the decision? The person that it actually impacts, or the owner who's kind of looking at things from a much higher perspective? Does that make sense when I say that?
Yeah.
And to answer your question, who do I go to more? How did I pick those 5 people in that inner circle? It's all the other things outside of just production, because we're in sales. So production usually is like the number one factor people look at. I don't look at production. I look at other factors. Is this a person who shows up to work on time? I tell everybody when I hire them, I go, I have one rule. My one rule is you show up to work on time. If you can't show up to work on time, then everything else you do is going to be sloppy. It's just like, give me your AirPod case and let me look inside of it, and I can tell you the exact type of person you are. Open your car door for me and let me look inside your car, and I can tell you exactly who you are. How your environment is, or how your standards are, what they are. So when you look at my 5 guys that come in and are in my inner circle are the ones that are always there on time, are the ones that always execute every single time I call a play, right? They're the first ones to get it done. And then thirdly, and most importantly, they are the 5 that I know, whether I am in the room or I'm not in the room, they are running the show the way that I would run the show. It doesn't matter if I'm staring at them or I'm not staring at them. Their level of production and execution will be the exact same. So then, this is the other side of the coin. And I know we're talking leadership, but now I'm like kind of talking at the people that are being led, because I think they can get a lot from this. The other side of the coin is the jealousy, or I guess the conflict that can occur between team members when they're like, why does he only listen to these 5? Okay. And if you're the other 25 people in that group, it's not that I may not listen to you. It's just that there's something in play that tells me not to go to you immediately. Like, you don't show up to work on time. I may tell you 7:50 is the start time. You may show up at 7:52. I am the type of person that looks at that 2 minutes, because that's you're late is late, right? I have routines in my life, and I don't break those routines, and I expect people to show up to work on time. Maybe I called a play 2 or 3 months ago and you didn't execute on the play. Maybe you told me you were going to do something and you didn't do it. In life in general, if you're that person that is constantly telling somebody, I'll get it done, and you don't get it done, then why would you be then annoyed or mad that you're not part of the inner circle? And then you say to yourself, well, how can I correct it? Well, you can fix the actions. You can go to the leader and say, hey, how do I become part of this group that you always go to? Because I think I have great ideas. And that person could tell you exactly why you're not part of that group. And you can execute and do those things, but it's not for like a day or 2 or 3. It's like, you can build a good relationship with somebody instantly, but once you break that good relationship, it takes a long time to build it back. So to answer your point, you're always going to have that group that you go to. You can always invite more people in that group. And if you want to be that person that's invited in that group, you have to make sure you execute on the vision that your leader or that your organization puts forth. And if you don't, you can't be mad and not being part of it, right?
There's 2 points here. One, what you just said takes from someone something very valuable, and that's their ego. Because I'm thinking about it in the moment. You probably think your ego takes a hit because you're not picked to be in the inner circle. your ego's going to get hit another time because I have to walk into this group that there's a little bit animosity towards, and I have to tell you I want to be a part of it. And that's kind of like also another hit on the ego. And then the third,
Yeah, you got to let me punch you in the face by telling you what you're doing wrong. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
So there's 3 hits to the ego before you can start working on becoming a leader in that circle. And I think that's what a lot of people aren't willing to do, is the stepping on the ego is kind of where people draw the line.
Do you know why?
Why?
Because we are all of us, constantly looking outwards for the reasons that we're not successful. Success and failure is strictly dependent on you. I can go to any company in the world, okay, and I will be successful. I will not allow you as my leader or anybody else to dictate how good I'm going to be at my job. I'm just built different. And I would say the majority of the people that work alongside me are just built different. But I don't think the majority of the world is like that. I think the majority of the world is constantly looking to the outside and saying, that's the reason I am not successful. It's not because of me. It's not my actions that are making it. It's because this person gets preferential treatment from the owner of the company. And because he gets preferential treatment, he is given better opportunities. And that is why I'm not successful. But if you actually just sat back and said to yourself, hold on, why is this guy getting preferential treatment? I'm in sales. It makes sense. If we're dealing with clients, I'm going to give clients to the best available person. You may be 3rd or 4th down that list, my friend. And if you're not asking why you're 3rd and 4th down that list, then you are forever going to constantly say, my leader just doesn't like me. But that doesn't make any sense. It's like my company would flourish if everybody if I had a bunch of 1As, they're all on the same level. But nobody wants to do that. Nobody wants to ever say the reason I'm not successful is because of these specific actions. Or like you said, I don't want to walk in the room and say, to tell the person that leads me and say, why is it that I'm not given the same opportunities as this person? What specific things could I work on to help create and foster this better relationship between you and I, or for you to coach me better, right? And as a leader, I'll take some responsibility. I'll say, like, how can I coach you better? But if I've gotten to that point with you, it's probably because I've already tried it so many times. And you're calling off work. You're not showing up on time. You're constantly being combative in meetings. You're not following the vision or executing on the play. You create a bad, toxic environment around you where other people, other team members are like, hey, I try to ignore this person. Everybody's had one of those guys. But if you ever just walked in and said, hey, I want to be great at this. Tell me what I need to do to be great. And somebody tells you and you do it. Your leader's going to look at that and be like, that's my guy. Yeah. And he'll get on a podcast and talk about you and say, this is the turnaround this person had. Right.
So look, that's so funny that you just mentioned that point specifically. You either get bitter or you get better. You either take what has been dealt to you and allow it to make you a better person, or you allow it to tear you down. The choice doesn't belong to fate. It belongs to you.
Strong. Yeah, I agree with that 100%.
And another point on that is I listened to this, I think last week, and it gave me like this light bulb moment. And the person said, if you had a friend and you were scheduling a dinner with that friend 20 times, and in the 20 times he either showed up 2 hours late or he didn't show up at all and canceled at the last minute, would you still trust that friend? Would you still want to hang out with that friend? And the reason 100% of the time, the answer 100% of the time is no. And what does that say about the promises that you make to yourself? How is your, consider these friends your brain, your inside, and then your physical body that's actually doing the work. And your mind and soul tell you that we have to start work tomorrow early. We got to get up. We got to do all these things. But your body doesn't fulfill the promise. It's not there in the morning. It hits snooze and it keeps sleeping. So multiply that on a good enough amount of times and you will stop trusting yourself as well.
Yeah.
You won't take yourself seriously. When you say, I'm going to do things on a subconscious level, I'm the type of person that just says they want to do things but never end up doing them.
Yeah, you create this habit of failure. Okay. This is really important. There are people that have routines in life, and as long as they hit those routines, their day usually goes very well. For anyone that follows me, you'll usually see me posting a cup of coffee at about 6:45 in the morning, right? Because that's when I have my first cup. I try not to drink any caffeine. I think like an hour before, but an hour after I've already woken up. It's like I read something.
It is.
Yeah, I read something, and
90
I'm
minutes.
like, maybe it works. Let me just try it, right? I always try to find ways to get better. 1% better every day. That's all I want. So by about 6, I would get in the office around 6 a.m. By about 6:45, I do whatever I have to do from my personal business standpoint. And by 6:45, I'm done. By 6:45, then I'm having my cup of coffee, and then I just sit on the couch in our little break area that we have at the office, and I just sit there from 6:45 to about 7:45, 7:50 when everybody else is set to arrive, right? And I tell all the people that work alongside me every day, and I say, hey, come to the office early, right? And I don't mean to work. Just come hang out with me. Have a cup of coffee. We won't even talk business. We'll just talk life. We'll do something. I actually love it when people pop in. And I say, let's just have a conversation. Get your voice warm, get your body warm, get everything warm. If I tell you to be at the office at 7:50 and you're timing it exactly, if you're like, as long as I leave my house by 7:40, I can get there. But then like your kid wants to give you one more hug or one more kiss, or your wife needs you to go take out the trash, or you forget you can't find your keys. All those things add up to a few minutes here or there, and then you eventually end up showing up late. My point there is, every single time you say you're going to do something, like show up to work on time, go to the gym, take out the trash the night before, every time you don't allow yourself to do those, you're just creating a habit of failure. And what ends up happening is it just becomes the new normal for you. I interview people every day, and I'm very picky and choosy about the people that I bring into the company. We're not a typical mortgage broker where we want to hire 50 people to work in these seats. I value the individual as a person. I want to get to know everybody on a very small level, and I grow very slowly. And I look at resumes sometimes, I'm like, every 8 to 9 months or every year and a half, you're at a new job. It's like clockwork.
Yeah.
And I go, you just created this habit of constantly losing, and it's hard for you to break out of it. And every time I read the resume, my first question isn't, tell me about this job. My first question is, why do you leave your job every 2 years? Is it leadership? Is it opportunity? And then I try to figure out whether it's the environment they keep putting themselves in or if it's them. And 99% of the time, it's them.
Is it?
Yeah, always, almost always. It's always a habit. You look at them and just the way that they, and this isn't a bad thing, all right? I mean, our job as leaders is to help develop. I'll take on projects and I'll hopefully make them into something better, right? But you look at, timing that they show up, the clothes that they're in, did they get a haircut the night before? Like, could you truly tell this person prepared for this meeting? Mm-hmm. Or is it just something that they're going to wing because they wing it every 2 years, right? So the reason I have a routine every morning is because I want to create a habit of winning. And my winning in the office doesn't start until about 8 o'clock in the morning. But if I'm up at like 5:30, what's my habits of winning? Did I make it to the gym? Did I have my clothes out the night before? Did I make sure my hair is done? Did I have my cup of coffee? Did I sit down and do the 3 or 4 things that I had on my to-do list that I knocked out before everybody showed up? So I don't have to, I can take them off the to-do list instead of adding them. Those are all those little incremental wins that I get. So by the time the world is awake at 8 o'clock, I've won 15 times.
Before the world is up, you've already won 15 times.
Yeah.
That's a good way to think about it.
Yeah. Imagine I told you to be at work at 8 o'clock and you woke up, brushed your teeth, scrambled to find clothes because you didn't prep the night before, walked out of your house, showed up 3 minutes late to work, just 3. You started your day off with an L. You already lost, dude. Or you could have had your clothes prepped the night before, had everything laid out for yourself, had your gym bag packed, woke up a little bit early because, newsflash to everybody out there, I swear to God, 30 more minutes of sleep doesn't help you. It really doesn't, I'm telling you. But you did all of that, and by the time you get to the office, you're winning. And I don't mean to drag this point on, but I have to talk about my good friend, Ali Bazzi. He works for me. Ali Bazzi has been with me, I think, since 2014. Like, followed me throughout my career. And I don't mean follow because him and I think we work side by side. But he's the perfect example of this. And not to get too personal, but at one point, Ali was a pretty big dude. I mean, high school football player, absolute athlete, good brain on him, hard worker. But at one point, he kind of let himself go to a point where I think he got to somewhere around like the mid 300-pound range. He went to Lebanon a few summers ago with a group of his friends. He had just started with me at the time. He said when he comes back, he's going to join Mortgage Connection and leave the lender he was with. And he sent me a picture of himself in Lebanon. And again, big boy. Good looking guy, but just big boy, you know? And he came back and just put himself in this routine where he said, I'm going to be awake every day at 4:45. I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to have my food packed. I'm going to go see a nutritionist, get my diet and my vitamins and minerals, things like that in order. And there are often times where Ali shows up to the office even before he's there before I even get in. And it's because he just created this morning routine for himself. By the way, now he's jacked, down 100 plus pounds, still does the same thing every single day. And of course he has his ups and downs like everybody else. He, went on this lull for like 2 months where you could tell his energy level was dipping and he wasn't just himself. He wasn't the guy that he developed himself into the last couple of years. And he made some tweaks and he made some changes. And the other day he walked in, he goes, I feel great. And I swear to God, I looked at him and I said, tell me why. And he starts explaining to me. I go, no, write it down. Like, write it down. Like, write down why you feel great right now. And he writes it. And I said, okay, the next time you feel bad or you get yourself in a lull, just pull this paper out and just do what's on the paper. Because, you clearly made a change. You just identify what that change is and you can just do it. You're always going to fall into a rut. So it just puts in perspective that, like, you could just wake up one day and just transform your life because he did. And his business is better because of it. His health is better because of it. He's a more well-rounded person. He's part of that inner circle. I don't make decisions without checking with Ali first. I don't, because he's just that guy to me. Right?
What do you think changed in his life to make him make that drastic decision?
That's probably between him and himself. I don't know what that spark is. I don't know if that spark was just the way that maybe he viewed himself versus what he's seen in the mirror or what he thought he looked like. I don't know if it's a physical thing, it was a mental thing. But I just remember he made the change from the old place that he used to work and came over to us. And I hope deep down in my heart it's because of the environment that we have, right? We were all really fixated on the gym, still are fixated on our food. We're not heavy spenders. We're not out there trying to I don't want to motivate you and say, hey, go out there and work harder and put in more time so you can go get that Escalator, go get that $1 million house. Money can motivate people, but it's so short term.
Yeah.
The minute you get it, you're just going to chase a bigger box. It never works. So I hope it was the environment that we created.
Let me tell you this personal story about Ali Younes and Mortgage Connections. Last year I was buying my first home ever, and obviously for any of you guys that have bought a home or are thinking to buy a home, there's a lot of nerves that come with it. You want it to be in a specific area, for example, or you want to make sure that you're going to be comfortable with financing a home and getting a mortgage. And there's just a lot that goes into it. You just a million thoughts a second. But then when I actually took the first step, I went and I talked to Ali and I told him all my concerns. He took this very complicated task in my head of buying a home and simplified it on pen and paper. And it made me feel like this very rigorous and stressful decision of me wanting to buy a home is actually very simple. And going through the process with Mortgage Connections and with Ali, it ended up being very, very simple. I ended up getting the home that I wanted and the area that I wanted it at the rate that I liked, and it felt very seamless. So if you are in that position, if you are trying to buy a home, if you're in that home buying process, whether it's your first home, your second, third, maybe it's investment property, maybe you're thinking about refinancing your home, I can confidently say from experience that dealing with Mortgage Connections has been such a smooth sailing ride, and I know it'll definitely be the same for you. I have all the contact information for Mortgage Connections in the description of this episode, so take a look at that. And now back to the episode. And I think that's the whole point, is you're going to fall, you're going to be down and out, but you got to come back up. There's a lot of people listening that maybe aren't making enough money that they think they should be making, or they're not making the money that they want to be making. How does someone kind of get on that path of money making?
Okay, in this scenario that you're throwing out, let's just assume that they work at a company or they work in an environment that gives them the ability to make what they believe is sufficient income. Okay, let's take mortgages for example. Right, you can make an unlimited amount. Obviously, you want to take care of the client. You want to make sure that they're happy. But as long as the client's happy, you're going to enroll a ton of clients. You're going to make a ton of money doing it. So there's an unlimited amount of income that can be created in the industry that I'm in. So let's just say you have a team member that could be making, $4,000 or $5,000 when they want to make $40,000-$50,000 a month, right? What do I say to that person? It's something I say to everybody that works alongside me every day is I want you to look around and I want you to look at the people that are essentially doing what you want to do. Somebody who's in my office was making 4 or 5 and they want to make 50. There are people in my office that make that amount of money on a monthly basis and they are excellent. They're great salespeople. They find creative solutions for their clients. They work what we consider in the mortgage industry a normal amount of hours, not excessive. They have a great work-life balance. And I say, if you're not doing it and there are 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 people in the office doing it, why are you asking me what you need to do? Like, why is that your first reaction? Why is your first reaction not to go over to that person that's doing it and say, just walk me through your day from the start, just from the start? And if you did want to ask me how they do it, why don't you ask me to take a day off where you can just sit with that person and just write down everything that they want that they're doing? Okay. Sounds easy, right? If I presented that to you and you worked alongside me, you're like, oh, that's easy.
Yeah, there's someone in the room that's actually doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so then you say to yourself, okay, why doesn't it happen? Is it a skill gap? Because I think skill can be taught 100%. Do you agree or disagree? Could I teach you how to do this job? I could, right? I don't think it's a natural thing. I think it can be taught. So why don't they do it? They don't do it because it's hard. Like, it's challenging to be great at what you do. It's challenging just to be good at what you do. Some people have an innate talent where they're just born with it and they're okay, right? But they're only going to be good. They'll never be great. Some of the best athletes that you were friends with were star high school players, but they never made it to college, or they made it to college, but they never made it to the pros because they didn't have that like extra gear. So number one, it's just hard for them to do it. And it goes back to our original point that we talked about 15 minutes ago, which is not only is it hard for them to do it, but then it comes with this thing where they actually have to admit that they're not doing something right, that it's not the environment and it's not the clients and it's not the market and it's not any of those things. It's you. You're the problem. And it's okay that you're the problem. Just say that you're the problem. And if once you admit to yourself that that's you, then all your barriers are then gone. You knock your ego to the side, just like you said, and you can go up to somebody who you consider a peer on an equal level as you and say, teach me. Even if that person isn't a leader, just teach me. And I swear to God, that person would do it out of the goodness of their heart or to just stroke their own ego. Say, all right, come here. Sit right here. Let me teach you how to do this, right? But those things are hard.
What if someone doesn't have access to a person that makes $40,000 a month? That's who I'm thinking of. Like, someone's listening to this and they don't have access to these people. They're just a regular employee in a regular company, 9 to 5. Doesn't have like I love sales because of the unlimited potential you have. But he knows that I'm just on the salary and I have to stay on the salary. I'm thinking about that person, what they can do to change their life around.
Okay. How much access to information do you think you have at your fingertips at any given moment? Unlimited, right? I'll start off by saying this. If you're at a job where you're not being fulfilled from a financial perspective, number one, it's chasing the money isn't the route to go. right? You don't want to just sit there and say, I want to make 50 grand. My first question to you is why? Like, why do you need that? Why do you need that kind of money on a monthly basis? Why doesn't 10,000 work for you? Why doesn't 5,000 work for you? Because you're going to take on a bigger box as you start to make more money. It's just a natural thing. You just start to spend it.
What do you mean by that? This is the second time you mentioned.
Yeah, it's like just in our industry, especially in sales, I watch them. I watch these people grow up. You start off by showing up in, dress pants that you got from Kohl's and a polo button up that you got from Marshall's for like 50% off, and you look great, right? And then within like a year, you're in like Ferragamo's that like cost $700 and you're getting your first custom made suit. And within 3 years, you've upgraded your car 3 times. You bought a house. Like, you're stretching yourself to the point where like you're adjusting your lifestyle based on the amount of money that you're making, as opposed to saying to yourself, let me set my future up here for a second. Like, why don't I just stay at the same $5,000 a month lifestyle, not chase the bigger box? I can still wear the Kohl's pants, still wear the half off polo, but then go invest money in somewhere else. And I tell my folks this all the time, because it's a constant thing, especially when you're working with like elite professionals, like the people that I work with. They're always saying things like, I want to build something. We just promoted one of our top bankers to a director of mortgage banking. It's the first position like that we've ever had in the company. We have a VP of sales who runs essentially the sales side of everything, but this is the first director that we've promoted. Shout out Ali Farhat. He was on this show. Great job.
One of my favorite episodes ever.
Yeah, I love that episode. And he always talked about building something. And his reason for going into leadership is 100% correct. He's a coach. He's a coach, he's a teacher, he's a mentor. It's just inherent in him. But then there are other people that say, I also want to build something. And I say, okay, why is building something mean that I need to throw 5 people at you to lead, right? Why can't building mean that you took, you have the $5,000 a month lifestyle, but then you took the other $45,000 that you made every month and you invested it in the market, or you bought investment properties or bought a side business, right? That's what I mean by chasing a bigger box. It's like people just like make more money to spend more money. That kind of defeats the purpose. And you're always going to have to just constantly make more money. You're never going to live a very relaxed lifestyle. I could have upgraded my life 3-4 times at this point, but I haven't, because my wife and I are very good at where we are, right? We're looking at other things like retirement and setting up our kids to be able to pay for college. Because another newsflash to the audience, the likelihood that your kids are going to be able to buy a house in the next 15, 20 years is probably about that small.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Market is, look at inflation. Look at the cost. Last year, the average home sale price was a little bit under $400,000. The average U.S. sales price right now is $494,000 for a house. So if you're not setting your kids up now, they're not going to be able to afford to buy a house. Either you're going to have to give it to them, or you're going to have to invest in their future and give them this large sum of money to be able to buy. But back to your original point, because I go off on tangents sometimes. It's you have an unlimited amount of resources at your fingertips. You have people in your life that you may follow on Instagram or on Facebook, people that that you bumped into, friends or family members, that may have a lifestyle that you want. How hard would it be to reach out to that person and just say, hey, how did you get to the business? Like, let me just sit down with you for 30 minutes. I can't afford much. Let me buy you a cup of coffee. And walk me through how you got to this point in your life. And they'll probably tell you about their job and what they do. And you're probably like, oh, that's a really cool job. I would love to do that. My partner, Joe, went back to law school, I want to say 3 or 4 years ago. Great attorney now, has his own private practice, kills the game. But, you're talking about a guy who graduated law school, I think late 30s. Like, reinvented himself 3 or 4 times. Like, it's never too late, right? But yeah, you have all the information in the world. Find somebody you want to be like and attach yourself to them. And they will tell you what they did to be successful, or what job they did to be successful. And if what they did to be successful in the lifestyle you want is they went to law school, then guess what you could probably do?
Go to law school.
You could probably go to law school.
Yeah. I think a lot of it
Joe did it.
Yeah. And I think what you started with, sums it all up, and it's, why do you want that? Why do you want $50,000 a month?
Yeah.
I think when you really ask yourself that question, it's like, maybe I don't want that. And you make the goal more realistic for you.
How simple was your life when you were a kid?
Very.
Like, it was nice, right? You just
Yeah.
like woke up and you're like, what do I got to do? Ride my bike to the park, enjoy myself with my friends. Like, he had a very simple life. You do get a certain amount of money to a point where it's like life becomes kind of like a problem that you have to solve every morning, which is, how do I make more? And you then stop focusing on enjoying your life and you just focus on making more money. Or you make more money and you invest, or you build something on the side that then allows you to, I hate to use the word passive income because no income's passive, you're working for it. But you're investing wisely in something, either in your future, in your mind, and rental properties and other business, whatever the case may be. The market, just throw money in the market and see what happens. And then you're living a much simpler life because you don't have $20,000 worth of bills on a monthly basis. You have 5, you have 10, but you're making 40. You're putting 30 on the side every month and you're reinvesting it. By the time you're in your mid 40s, you're good, but your friends are still chasing a bigger box.
Right.
They have a nicer car than you. They have a nicer house than you, but they're also going to be working until they're 80 because they're never going to get enough of it. It's a drug, man.
Yeah, and like you said, when your friends around you are doing these things, you feel like you're missing out. Like, why am I not doing these things? Why am I not balling out like they are, for example? And then you just feel like, I got to chase that. Although the reasonable thing is doing what you're doing. Just put the money on the side and invest and look towards your future. If you're not married, try to save up to get married and get stable. But yeah, it's and to be honest with you, I feel like people that do make it to that point, that are willing to do those hard stuff, have gone through very hard things before. Like, life threw at them very large problems, and they kind of have a dark side, and that's kind of what fuels them. Because you mentioned something that's very important as well, is money's not that big of a motivator at first. Like, at first you're like, yeah, I want to go chase the money, but that's very short-lived.
Yeah.
And you stop thinking about that. Okay, but people that actually go for it are channeled by something, I feel like. Channeled by some like hardship or trauma or something that they went through. And they want to prove it to themselves before proving it to the world.
Yeah, there's that, and there's also the fact that people just have like goals they want to achieve in life. You could chase the money or you can chase the goal. I chase the goal because I can do backwards math to figure out how much money I need to make to get to that goal. Grab a pen and piece of paper right now, and you grab that pen and piece of paper and you break it up into quadrants. It's like, I always say something within the next month, something in the next 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, right? And you can stretch this out as long as you want, 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, whatever. And you write down 2 or 3 goals in each one of those sections, right? And then you say to yourself, okay, let's play a little game here and let's eliminate the things. Let's rank them in the most important to the least important. And let's also rank them into what's the easiest to achieve and the hardest to achieve. And you'll find usually the things that are most important are also the hardest to achieve, but people try to chase those 2 things. Like, it blows my mind. Like, I'm good with the fact that you want to save up $1 million, but it is very hard to do that. Yeah. Like, when you're on a salary of 90, right? It could take you 20 years to do that, which is fine. Keep that in your mind, in the back of your mind. But we talked about creating this habit of winning and not losing. So I almost look at the other ones, which are what are the easier to achieve goals. And when I write them down, I literally write them down. Go to my desk right now. You'll see little sticky notes, green ones and yellow ones, and they're right there on my desk. And I say, okay, this is what I want to get done by the end of the week. This is what I want to get done by the end of the month. And then I backtrack and say, if it's something I want to purchase, I say, I need to close X amount in volume to make this much money to be able to get this thing. And then now I'm not chasing the money. I'm chasing the goal. Yeah. It flips the mindset completely.
Correct.
Right? And when I get it, I'm like, let me take that Post-it note and throw it in the garbage. And let me replace it with the next thing. And what you'll find is as you start knocking those things off of your goal list, by the time you're done, you're like 4 or 5 years into this career of yours, and you're that much closer to the one that takes the longest and is the hardest to achieve. Like, you've kind of built up to that point. People try to get to the like, I want to retire by 30. I want to retire by 40. But like, you're 21, you just graduated college. It's like, hold on a second. Why don't you start from the bottom here? It's okay. The world of social media is not what the world is like. Teenagers driving Lambos You know, you may be that 1 in a million that's just excellent at gaming and you got a contract with Kick, but you're not the normal, right?
Right.
So you have to start off by small and just kind of increments. But yeah, I never chase the money. It just doesn't make any sense. It never made sense to me. And the people that do it, it's so short-lived. The hardest people that I have to coach and lead on a day-to-day basis, Jafar, the ones that exhaust me to motivate them on a day-to-day basis are the ones that I look at in the face and I say, I don't know what motivates you. You're not married. You don't have kids. Lives don't depend on you. You like recognition and you like to make money. Okay. Tell me what else. And they can't come up with anything. And then I say to myself, I can't coach you.
Right.
You have no substance. There's nothing you're trying to achieve in life outside of making money and being recognized, which means that you just want to go buy a Lambo and you want to drive it around.
Yeah.
So can we think of some things that you really want to try to achieve in life? And let me try to push you towards that goal, because naturally what's going to end up happening if I push you towards that goal, you're going to make more money and you're going to get recognition.
Yeah.
It's the byproduct. You're chasing the wrong thing.
Yeah. Man, I didn't show you this, but you're on track. Like literally the next one after that is when a person can't find a deep sense of meaning, they distract themselves with pleasure.
Oh yeah, dude, that's just life, man.
Yeah, that's what you were talking about.
Yeah, and it happens so much in banking too. Banking is one of those things because you can make so much money at such a young age, and if you're not responsible with it, you just get tempted by all these like bad things in life, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's exactly what we just talked about. But I mean, we can go to the next thing, but I want to get back to that point of when I came in to talk to you, I said to myself, okay, we're going to talk a lot about leadership, coaching, and developing. But do I really want this being structured towards specific, like talking to the leaders that lead every single day? Or would I love to give a little insight to the people that are being led and saying, the ones that constantly say like my boss is kind of an asshole, right? Like he doesn't like me. That's why I'm not successful. Or, I'm not set up for winning because, the people that run my company prefer certain people over other people. It's never you. It's always the external factor that's causing it. And I really hope that the way that I'm answering these questions, people can just sit back and say to yourself like, oh, like my boss actually does care about me. The reason he's a jerk to me at 9 o'clock in the morning is because I'm supposed to be there at 9 a.m. and I show up at 9:05. Or every week, I'm off at least one day because something horrible happens in my life. And I text them, 5 minutes before I'm supposed to start and say, I'm not feeling well, I can't make it in. That's a constant thing. You're creating this habit where people now look at you and say you're unreliable, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Life moves very fast, and maybe you can't predict the future, but you can prepare for it. Nasser Insurance Agency helps you protect the people that you love the most with life insurance that actually fits your life. Whether you're starting a family, whether you're buying a home, whether you just want peace of mind, they'll guide you through your options and get you the coverage that you need at the price that's comfortable for you. Call Nasser Insurance Agency today and make sure that you have a policy that protects your family moving forward. And now back to the episode. I wanted to have this conversation because I feel like a lot of our people are actually they have the potential to be very good leaders, and now they're being led, whether for whatever reason. I always try to cater these conversations to Jafar that came to America at 19 years old. Like, what would have he wanted to listen to? Maybe he didn't want to listen to you got to leave your job ASAP and start a business. Maybe he just wanted to understand how these things go and kind of have the building blocks of being a leader. So this is for people who are also being led, for potentially, maybe they're not going to become a leader tomorrow, but in 3 years and 4 years and 5 years, they're given building blocks to do that. And this is about giving up, which a lot of people do. When I found the thing I truly loved, the idea of giving up completely left my mind. It wasn't an option. I was going to keep showing up and trying day after day, year after year, until I figured it out or died. Maybe that's a destructive mindset for some, but it worked for me. Burn the boats.
You know where burn the boats comes from?
Where?
There's a Spanish conquistador that landed in, I believe, Mexico. And his army was being overran. And I don't know the name, and someone in the comment section is going to correct me on this, but essentially they were losing this battle. And he basically said, "We are not retreating, burn the boats." So he burned all of his ships to basically force his men to stay there to fight the fight. And I believe they ended up winning. So because there was no backup plan, they were forced to actually give everything that they had to do. So it's a very good life lesson when you look at it and you say to yourself, like, why are some people successful and some people are not? And yes, leadership plays a big role in there. You could have just been blessed to work alongside somebody who cared about you and taught you and led you. You could also have been brought up in a great environment. We look at like our parents. We say, our parents lived in this like era of abundance where you could buy, a massive 4-bedroom home for under $100,000 working at Ford on the line. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Where now you can barely afford to buy a house.
Barely afford to pay groceries. If
Yeah.
you're working on the line, maybe.
So that's environment, right?
Yeah.
The environment that was created, right? So there is a part of that. But then you also say to yourself, why are there some people that regardless of what they do, they're just successful? And it's because they don't have a backup plan. They burned the ships a long time ago. All I have is what's in front of me. And as long as there's somebody there that's in front of me that is beating me in this thing, in this metric that I'm being judged on, as long as there's somebody ahead of me, I can keep moving forward. What I would tend to find, and this is going to sound cocky, and I'm okay with it. What I tend to find is that I've always been in like sales roles, and I've always just been like pushed into like a leadership role, like eventually, just because I guess in natural ability, I guess. And I do have some characteristics I think are just good for leadership. But I would always ask myself why I would move careers and move jobs, especially when I was younger. And almost every time it was like, I'm number one on the scoreboard or on the leaderboard. And it's like, what's next? There's nothing else there. What else am I chasing? At that point, I'm just stagnant, right? I can't go anywhere. So I need to go somewhere where it's like next level, where I'm not going to be number one. I want to be number 5, and then I want to go 4, 3, 2, 1 eventually. And then I want to get beat every month and flip-flop 1 and 2. And that's what drives people. So you can I think that's a great mindset to have. Just burn the boat. There's no backup plan. What's the backup plan?
Especially if you know what you want to do. Like, why would you give yourself another option?
Why would you? Well, it just doesn't. It never made any sense to me. Maybe it's just. I didn't know that quote when I was 16, 17, but I still had the same mindset.
Right.
It was just a thing in my head. It was just, I no matter what I was going to do, I was going to be the best at it. There was no backup plan. I was not going to stop until I was there. Then I can move on.
I remember when I was moving to America, I thought that. But I was moving without my family. And I'm like, I just want to be there. And then after I get there, we'll figure it out from there. But I need to be able to get to America and burn the boat.
I love
like it has to work.
I love we'll figure it out. I love we'll figure it out. People are my favorite people.
Yeah.
Because I trust. I know. Like, you're gonna figure it out. You'll got it.
Yeah. If someone has that mentality that I'm just gonna figure it out, they're gonna figure it out.
Yeah.
This is a little emotional intelligence. You posted this. I lost the debate, not because I was wrong, but because I was emotional. Emotion kills clarity.
1,000%. Whether it's personal or it's business, you're always going to have some sort of conflict where you may think one way and your partner in life, or your partner in business, or your team member that you lead every day thinks another way. The right way to do it is to make sure that you're both in a very calm mindset and you can have a discussion that moves you forward, right? And you may not come out of that agreeing one way or another, but at least you put everything out on the table and you're able to have a constructive conversation. That conversation, I remember, that morning at work was not like that. That conversation was very heated because for the first time in a very long time, I was talking to a team member that no matter what I did and no matter what I said, I couldn't get them to understand. They kept getting in their own way. It was always the environment that was causing them to not be successful. And this person has a long track record of again, changing jobs. And then also in their personal life also has a lot of issues. And I don't mean issues as in like they live a great life. Issues as in like it's constantly the environment that's causing them not to be a winner, right? And man, was it hard, so hard for me to like stomach the fact that like I just couldn't get through to this person. And I got a little heated on it, and I got a little emotional, and I literally said, "Can't have this conversation anymore," and I walked out. And I think 100% I lost that because it didn't change the action that the individual was doing. That was my purpose of having that conversation. I should have just said, "Hey, neither of us are in the state that we want to be having this conversation. Let's check back in tomorrow." But I didn't do that. I just walked out of the situation. I feel like I lost the debate. I never brought it back up because I only have, as a leader, I only have so much energy that I can pass on to everybody else throughout the day.
Right.
And I just couldn't give any more. So I'm like, I'm going to go.
So you have to control your emotions.
Yeah. You watch
Or
it.
if you can't control them, you have to put it on pause.
Just take yourself out of the situation. Can't have this conversation right now. It's not that I don't want to. It's just that I can't have this conversation because I don't feel like we're going to move forward in any way. Life, once you get married, that's the same concept.
Yeah.
I will argue all the time. She's great at it. She's like, hey, you just need to just take a breath for a second, right? Just breathe for a second. And a lot of times what I'll find myself doing is I'll just walk away. But I won't walk away with the intention of like, I'll come back to this. Early in my relationship, I would just walk away and like, I'm done. I'm not having this conversation anymore, right? I've given all the energy I could to people today. I don't have any more left in me. Whereas now it's more of a, I'm not ready to have the conversation right now. But that one was a good one.
That's what
and I always think back at it.
I let the business take over the personal. I skipped the gym, missed time with the girls, not because I had to, but because I didn't plan. So you posted a loss here.
I posted 3 losses that day. I still remember. I was driving to the office. It was like 6:30 in the morning. And I said to myself, I always share like wins. But how many times do I ever just talk about the things that I messed up on that day? And a lot of my messaging I put out there, I get a couple messages saying, I look forward to these every morning. That's not why I do them, by the way. But I get them. I'm like, oh my God, that feels so good. Like I had no idea people were actually listening to this. I'm using that to talk to myself, and I'm using that to talk to my team. Because every one of those quotes that you see that I post online is from something that happened either in my personal life or in my work life. It's not a podcast that I listen to and I just take it and I run with it.
Right.
Those are specific events. And I just said like, man, I really, those 3 things that I posted that day, I said, those are L's. And I said, if I don't like say them out loud, I'm not going to be able to make sure that I hold myself accountable. But better yet, if I post that online, someone's going to message me asking me if I went to the gym today, right? Like someone's going to help hold me accountable because, as much as everyone wants to be a business owner and they feel like that's like you've made it in life, the problem is when I look up, there's nobody. There's nobody to say like, you're not doing something right or you need to put in a little bit more energy. And every now and then I get one of my guys will come in and say, hey, you're being a little bit unapproachable right now. You've changed a little bit. Like we know you're stressed or whatever the case may be. But for the most part, no one's holding me accountable on anything. Right. I do whatever I want, right? So you got to post the L sometimes.
Most people dread Mondays, but for us, Mondays are the real magic.
Yeah. Do you dread Mondays?
No.
Have you ever dreaded a Monday?
No.
Why?
I really like what I do.
Okay.
I texted Firas the other day and I'm like, out of nowhere, I told him, man, I just love what we do. Like, it's so much fun. Yeah.
How many times have you talked to somebody on a Friday and they go, thank God it's Friday? Why are they saying that? Because they don't have work Saturday or Sunday. Because they're off. But then the problem is they're so consumed Saturday and Sunday thinking about Mondays coming. I gotta go back to work and work 5 more days. Clearly you don't love what you do.
Yeah.
I think we love what we do. And Monday is kind of a shorter day for us. So we are a purchase-focused brokerage. We cater to the realtors and their clients. When do people buy homes? Later in the evening and over the weekends. We make sure we're available. So the next time you come at me and you say, hey, I'm working with this banker from Chase, I'm going to say, good luck putting in an offer on a Sunday, because they're not going to reply till 9:30 on Monday morning, right? By the time I get in Monday, it's kind of my shortest day, because the world is sleeping Saturday and Sunday, and we're just going, right?
Yeah.
Where Monday becomes a much shorter day for us because of that reason. So I love Mondays. I'm all about it.
Mondays are great.
Yeah.
As the company grows, so does the weight of every decision. But one thing that never changes is how much every voice in this room matters. Partnerships over hierarchy.
Yeah. I'll give you specifics of that conversation. Comp plan changes. Nobody likes a comp plan change where you say, I'm going to pay you X amount of money, but now the business has changed and I have to increase that or decrease that, right? Based on the complexities of the business. I had a meeting with all of my people where I said, here's where the business is, and here's what I'm thinking I'm going to do with compensation. Now, we already pay on the top tier of compensation because I just deal with elite people. It's a lot easier to coach star athletes. Trust me when I say it. It's a lot harder to coach the newbies.
Mediocre.
I don't even want to call them mediocre, because we all were mediocre at some point in our lives, right? It's not a bad word, but we're all bad at something, right? Before we found someone to get us to the point where we are now. So I came in, I said, here's where the business is. Here's where our P&L is. Here's the investments I want to make. And our business is thriving. We're doing great, but we want to invest in something different that could help increase the business even further, but it's going to take a big chunk of money. And I was basically putting that in front of the guys, and I said, hey, we can go get this thing, but in order for us to get this thing, I got to take a little bit out of here, right? And it was a 2-hour-long conversation where I had to constantly bring the room back and say, guys, don't look at this as me just trying to put money in my pocket. If I take from here, I'm just putting it here. And the goal of putting it in this area is to then push more things your way.
Right.
So it's an increase. It's an investment. That's how I want you guys to look at it. But most companies you work at will not ever put a group of people in a room and have that conversation with them or explain the detailed why they want it. Usually just, hey, comp plan change, you like it, you don't, feel free to go. And I understand why, because there are a lot of people that were in that room that will essentially derail the entire conversation. They will play victim, and everyone's temperature will completely drop. And it's very hard when people aren't listening to you anymore. They're playing the victim at that point. And it only takes one person to sabotage the group. Right. It only takes one juror to say guilty not guilty. And then a guilty man gets put on the street. Right. So I could sense that was kind of happening. But the good thing is I've made such an investment in my people. Personally, professionally, financially, I eat last always. I will give up income to make sure my guys are productive. If I have one of my top guys that isn't producing at a high enough level, I may say, hey, I have a great client. I want you to work with them instead of me, right? And then they can benefit, and it helps spring them. I made such an investment in my guys that I could have that conversation with 30 people, where most companies can't, because they don't invest enough in their people, and their people don't believe that they are making decisions that are based on their best interest. And the way that I make my decisions typically is to bring everybody in a room and talk it through. I may start off the conversation by saying two things. I say it every time. Number one, I'm making this decision regardless of whether you guys agree with it or not. I just want to be in the room to explain the why. And in case you guys have any questions, you're not harboring that in you, and I can be the one that explains it to you. That's number one. Then the second thing I always say is if I'm leaving it open to a debate, and leaders, this is a great thing for you guys to know. If I'm leaving the conversation open to a debate, I will walk in and say, you don't have to have the answer right now, Jafar. You don't.
Okay.
I'm going to present something to you. What I would love for you to do is, if you have some constructive criticism or feedback or ways to improve this plan, I would love your opinion on it. But if you don't have that right now, just zip it. Come back to me in 3 or 4 days.
Yeah.
I'm making this decision for a month from now, not right now. Because we've all been in that room with somebody that just feels like they just have to say something. But you're not presented any of the facts. You're just saying what's on the top of your mind, which doesn't always lead to the right direction. So when I start off a conversation by saying you don't have to have the answer right now, I'm putting it in front of you guys. Write it down, think about it. We're going to meet back on Friday, and then we can actually have a conversation about this. What you'll tend to find is you're fostering this environment where people then become leaders and they make decisions, and then they understand your thought process. You're aligned on the same goal, and you just go down the same road.
And you're giving them time to think. You're not putting them on spot where they think for them to prove themselves, they have to give you a decision right now.
Yeah.
And they have to, and maybe it's not the right decision. They didn't think about it too much. Is that ever nerve-wracking, having those conversations with 30 guys?
I mean, it can be. I don't think it is. I'm very direct. I'm an emotional person. I love certain things. I don't like certain things. Some things make me cry. Some things make me happy. I'm not emotional when it comes down to having conversations. I'm very good at delivering a message, but I will punch you in the face with a message if I have to. But it's only because I've built I've invested so much in you that there's this level of comfort between us where I can say something and I'm coming from the right place. The problem with most people is that they don't make the investment in the person and then they go punch them in the face. It's like, I don't think you're coming at me from a good position because you've never cared to ask about my family. You don't know what my kids are. You've never visited me when we had a baby. I told you my mom was sick and you just said, okay. You never texted me or called me to check up on her or send her flowers to the hospital. I've made those investments.
Yeah.
So it's not nerve-wracking. There's a fear of the unknown because I don't know what type of reaction I might get. But it's almost like a weird, exciting feeling because they may say something and I'm like, holy shit, I did not think about it like that. That changes this 4-page plan that I put together over 2 weeks. Throw it in the garbage because what you just said made so much more sense and I just never thought about it. I'm one man. I don't have all the answers, but I got 30 people that probably know the answers to things.
Some days you got to run 200 miles an hour, full throttle, outwork everyone around you because let's be honest, not all of us are the most naturally gifted, but effort, that's something we can control. And in this game of life, the hardest worker always wins.
There are 2 things that no matter what job you do are required to do that job. Number 1 is a level of skill, and number 1 is a level of effort. Okay. Some people are born inherently with more skill towards a certain thing. They can speak better, they can run faster, they can jump higher. They have the ability to process numbers better. Like they're brainiacs, right? Or they're freak athletes. But then some people aren't inherently born with that skill. So if you don't just have the natural God-given ability, what could you then control? It's the effort piece.
Right.
It's I can just outwork you. And I just think the person that outworks will always be a better overall leader and team member than the person that just has the natural skill. Because you've relied on that natural skill. Stuff has come so easy for you in life that you don't know how to turn it on. You're just running here. It just happens to be higher than everybody else. Whereas the high effort person, and I don't mean more hours or more time. It could mean that. It just means like I give it a little bit more, right? I may put in a few more hours. I may take a few more calls. I may follow up a little bit more with a few more clients, but I can control that effort. The people that I just cannot work with, I refuse to do it, are the ones that inherently don't have the skill, but then want to put in the same effort as a star athlete. And then you say to yourself, well, but you don't tell the star athlete to work more hours or to put in more time or to push a little bit harder. I go, yeah, because the star athlete just has a higher ceiling than you. The star athlete doesn't try and hits this specific metric that we're following. You think you can give the same effort as them with half the skill. It doesn't make any sense. So control your effort. And eventually you'll actually raise that skill level. Why? Because you have more at-bats. And now you're leading them from a skill perspective. And then you can throttle back the effort a little bit, right?
There's actually a test that they tried where I think it was like a pottery class. And throughout the course of the semester, two groups of people. One group, they said you have the whole semester to make the best piece of whatever the class is. You have the whole semester to make this thing, one thing. And then the other group of people had shorter deadlines and they had to do a large quantity of things. And then, so they didn't have that one big project. Just make as many as you can. At the end of the semester, the group that did the more quantity had significantly a nicer product at the end than the one that had the whole semester to prep for.
More reps.
More reps. And basically you can force your way into being on that top tier if you just do it so many times.
Yeah.
There's no way that you won't get a polished product at the end.
1,000%.
Just repetition.
But it's hard. It's hard to put in a lot more effort.
Yeah.
It's hard to look at somebody and say, he's just naturally, or she is just naturally better than I am, so I need to outwork him or her. It's hard for people to admit that to themselves.
But Ali, I think what caught my eye in that example is there really is no excuse. Like, even if I wasn't born with that talent or skill, I can force my way into being at that top level. So in reality, there is no excuse, right? Because I think that's what we feed ourselves a lot of time. This guy's just better than me. I'm not going to be able to do that. But doing that enough number of times, I'll force my way to be on that top level. And I think it's hard, but I don't think people that want to get to that top level, that actually want to get to that top level, care if it's hard or not, as long as there's a path. So knowing that there's a path is where we want to be, right?
100%. You're getting it.
One of the most valuable realizations in leadership is understanding that not everyone moves at the same pace. Sometimes you're running and the person next to you is walking. But great leadership isn't about expecting everyone to match your speed. It's about having the awareness to recognize where someone is, the patience to meet them there, and the belief that with the right support, they'll find their own rhythm. The best teams aren't built by force. They're built by understanding, guidance, and trust in the process. So I wanted to bring this up because this looks like you wrote it for your team.
Mm-hmm.
But I read something similar about speed and pace with your partner at home, with relationships. Sometimes you're moving 200 miles an hour and they're walking. Then another time they're sprinting and you got to catch your breath. And I just want to get your thoughts on that, both work and personal.
I think they go hand in hand. I think the way that you are in your personal life will always leak over to the way that you are in your work environment. What's important about that specific one is the person that I was essentially talking to was, again, one of my team members. And what I realize is I go quick, and I know I communicate very well, and I can communicate in very different ways, right? So it's ways that you can digest it, and I can change my verbiage or the way that I handle things, the way that somebody else can digest it. For example, you may be a direct person. I come up to you and say, hey, you did 1, 2, 3. It didn't work. Metric fell. I need you to go fix it. And you already know how to do it. Where the same thing might happen to somebody else, and I walk up to him and I tap him on the shoulder and I go, hey, I got a tip for you. You want it? Like, excite him, get him happy. I got some advice for you. I think it's really take your game to the next level. And they'd be like, yeah, sure, teach me. I'd be like, if you did 1, 2, and 3, I think we can get this metric from here to here. And then you give them a little fist bump and tap, see, you're doing a great job, and you walk away. So you're delivering the same message in 2 different ways. My speed is always go, go, go. I am the direct person. I always say, just fast forward to the part where you ask me a question. I don't want the whole backstory. Just tell me what you need and I'll get it done, right? Are more people like me in life, or are more people like that other person that need to be like, hey, I got some advice for you. I think I got a way that I can help you get 1, 2, 3. You want to hear it? More people are like that.
Yeah.
It just takes a lot longer to do. So what I was finding myself doing is I thought this person was like a direct person. So I'd hit them. Hey, I need you to fix this. And I'd walk away. And by the end of the day, I gave them 5 tasks. And I looked back and one of them was done.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what are we doing here? And then I realized, because it took somebody else to come up to me and be like, hey, by the way, like, I don't think you realize that this person doesn't move very fast. They just look like they move very fast. And that's when I thought about that. And I'm like, holy crap. I've been coaching this person like this for like 6 months. No wonder why they're not good. And then I tweaked it. And then all of a sudden it's like a different human. On a personal level, absolutely. Like imagine running, my business is very fast paced. I start at 6 a.m. and I'm not home sometimes until 5 or 6. And I'm go, go, go. By the time I get home, my kids are excited to see me. My wife is excited to see me. My dog is excited to see me. And then everybody else that's been texting me for personal things is excited. And now I get a chance to respond. But I've been running 200 miles an hour for 12 hours. It's time for me to like cut it down. And then I slow all the way down. But everybody else has just started to speed up because I just showed up.
Yeah.
So it's important to meet people halfway. So what did I start doing? I started saying, okay, by this time every day, I'm cutting out. I'm leaving. Because as long as I leave by this time, I have enough gas in the tank to meet them where they are when we get to that level. So if I'm looking at it from the business and personal, those are the reasons that quote was important, is because it's important to be able to read the room. And sometimes people need to slow down for you. Sometimes you need to pick me up. But in my case, that's not usually the case. Usually I'm the one that's running too fast and I need to slow down for everybody else.
And I think that's what a lot of people get wrong. Maybe they're on sprint the whole time and they're not willing to slow down for other people. And it's like, you either meet me where I'm at or we're not getting along together.
Yeah, leaders do that all the time.
Do they?
100%. It's either, hey, we run fast, we run hard, and we're elite and we're great. If you're not running with me, then go to another team. We don't take days off. It's the locker room, bro.
Yeah.
It's a rah-rah type of guy. But like those things, they burn out so quick. It's like a quick wick. It's like a firework. It just flies quick, burns, and blows. Whereas the people that can like make the engine last longer, because your foot isn't on the gas all day. You're throttling it back, throttling it forward. You know exactly how to play with that pedal perfectly, where you can get that motor to run for 1,000,000 miles instead of 100,000.
One thing I've noticed in my top performers is that their confidence doesn't come from how loud they are, how often they talk about being great, or how many motivational quotes they post. It comes from proof. Real confidence isn't a personality trait, it's a track record. It's built through action, through results, through consistency. Confidence is really just the percentage likelihood that what you say will happen actually happens, and the only way to raise that percentage is to make it happen over and over again. You want to be confident? Don't say it, show it.
Okay, this is a great story. And it speaks to me not being able to see something that was plain in front of me. I made a decision to allocate more resources to a specific banker over another banker. Okay. Banker A is up every day at 6 a.m. posting motivational quotes on his social media. Comes in every day, fiery, energetic. Every time I walk by him, rolling. Got a million screens up on his thing, typing, clicking, all that kind of stuff. Works through lunch, does all of those things. Banker B shows up to work on time. Quiet, sits in the corner, does his thing. Never has any problems, never really brings anything to my attention. Just like this slow roll type of person. I allocated more resources to Banker A for something, because to me, Banker A was putting in a lot more work than Banker B was. But when I sat back and I looked at the numbers, I didn't even look at the numbers. My VP brought it up to me and said, but hold on a second. This gal actually outperforms this guy every single day, every month, every week. There's no comparison between the two people. And when I looked at the numbers, it was like stifling. Because I thought this person projected this level of like confidence to a point where I just believed everything they were throwing at me. And it's not because they weren't trying to fake it until they made it, right? They believed they were at that level. Right. They just had it. Where the other person just came in and did their job, it did it effectively, and never caused any fuss, never caused any problems, wasn't the loudest person in the room, so they got almost overlooked. So when I made that decision, it obviously rubbed Banker B the wrong way. So I had to bring her into a room and have that conversation with her. And when I did, I pointed out the fact that I looked at the metrics and I got the whole thing all wrong. And I had to explain to her why I made that decision, why the decision was wrong. It was not right on my part,
Right.
But I had to explain to her why. And then I said, I'm going to give you some advice that's going to serve you for the rest of your life. Sometimes it's not okay to be the quietest person in the room. Sometimes it's okay for you to be a little bit louder and brag about the things that you do. Sometimes it's okay for you to go to the board, and when you enroll a new client and they're very happy, or they leave you a great review because you did an excellent job, sometimes it's okay to brag about it and put it on social media so everybody can see it. Perception can be reality in many cases. I perceived this person to be a lot better than you because they almost made it a reality for me. And ever since then, she started to do that, and people have taken notice. People in the office, clients outside of the office, realtors that she worked with. Her business has gone up now because she's putting it out there. So you can look at it both ways. Sometimes people just need to be a little bit quieter.
Right.
You're not really at the level that you want to be. I get the fake it till you make it mentality, but throttle it back and work on that skill a little bit more. Where sometimes like you're too quiet. People need to know that you're great. And it's okay to talk about it. It's not cocky. It's not anything. Just bring it up.
I think even from a marketing perspective, it's positioning. Like where are you positioning yourself? We were talking about this yesterday, and we're talking about people that have their names on billboards everywhere, and you'll see their names in like the weirdest places. They just have their name everywhere. And even though maybe these people aren't really the absolute best at what they do, people perceive them as such because they see their names everywhere. Hence, more business goes to them. So obviously there's a balancing act. You want to know that, okay, number one, I'm positioning myself like this because I want people to recognize me as a leader in my field. But at the same time, when it comes down to it, and when these leads actually come, I need to convert. And I have to really show how good I am. But if you're not good, people are going to be like, okay, this guy's just a fraud. And then that word is going to way outpace the billboard and everything in the positioning that you've been working on. So it is a balancing act between positioning yourself in a way where people look at you like you are a leader in your industry, but at the same time having the skills that converts to, oh, this guy is actually really good at what he does.
Yeah, we were very guilty of being like banker B here, quiet, right?
That's true.
And I say it all the time. I don't go around. I just started doing it. I never really went around bragging about like our production or our level of execution or how we've helped more families in Southeastern Michigan than any other mortgage broker out there. Okay, this is not a plug for Mortgage Connections at all. It's more of there were people that would always tell me, oh, you're up and coming. You're going to be the next this person. And then I would look at them and I'd say, what are you, we're not even on the same level. Like we 3X their business on a month in, month out basis. And then they say to themselves, wait, really? And I go, yeah. Yeah, we're number one by a long shot. Like, and you, how many mortgage brokers do you think are in Dearborn and Dearborn Heights? 50? Probably. There's one on every corner. There are people that are mortgage brokers that just do it out of their house like we did when we first started.
Right.
50? When I show you the gap between number one and number two, you'll be like, wow. There's that big of a gap between us and everybody else. And I should talk about it more. I should put myself out there more. I should tell everybody that's how it is. But to us, it's like we're just doing such a good job. We're taking care of everybody at a high level. That what's the purpose? Why am I going to go out there and why am I going to stir the pot? Well, because it's going to benefit us. People want to work with the best. And as long as I can continue to put that out there, then people are going to know that's who the best is us. And then more people are going to come over. And that's only going to benefit the team, right?
And usually the people that are like person B are the ones that are really dialed in on the product, you know? They're really focused in on, I just want to do my job the best as I can. And they almost don't find time to brag and post and be like, I'm just doing this job. Like, I'm just doing my job, really, when it comes down to it. But you need to position yourself better.
1,000%.
Yeah.
I'm learning, man. I'm not perfect.
Yeah.
Right? I've been doing this for a handful of years. I wasn't a business owner before this. So I'm learning, and I surround myself with winners, and they call me out, and I learn, and then I execute. And that's how it is. Not afraid to say that I made a mistake ever.
My favorite people are the quiet goal setters, the ones who don't need to shout what they're chasing because they've already mapped out how to get there. They don't just call their shot in a moment of motivation. They build a plan, commit to the process, and let their execution speak louder than their words. These are the ones driven by something deeper, an inner fire to be great that doesn't really rely on external validation or accountability. They don't need to be pushed. They're already moving.
You could be this person, or you would know who this person is. Everyone has them in their lives, or it just might be you. It's the person that is successful, and when you ask them what they're doing to find that success, they can tell you specific actions that they're taking. In the prior career that I was at, I progressed very fast into the role that my final role with that company. And people would always ask me, like, hey, what are you doing to be successful today? I go, it's not what I'm doing today. It's the things I've been doing for 5 years. They're just catching up to me today.
Right.
It's the things I started 5 years ago are now I put that tree in the ground, and now it's bearing fruit 5 years later.
People think that this happened to you overnight.
Yeah.
Like you just learned something yesterday, you implemented it today, and then tomorrow the tree is gonna.
Yeah, but that's not the case. But I know exactly the steps that I took to get to this point. I'm the quiet goal setter. I don't need to tell you, regardless of whether you are in front of me or you are not in front of me, I am going to be successful. My success and my failure is based on me and only me. It does not matter what company I work for. It does not matter what leader I have. It doesn't matter. Put me anywhere, I will be great. Why? Because I understand that basic concept. And I'm able to figure out what it takes to be successful, document it, and put it in place. So whenever I'm in a rut, I can go back and look at it and flip through my notebook, which I have on my desk, and say, this is what I did to have my best month ever in whatever field that I'm in. I'm just gonna go back, oh, you know what, these 3 things I'm not doing anymore. Let me start doing those things again. And those are my favorite type of people. But then there are people out there that are just like, you know, they just have a great month, or they just tripped into success. And you ask them what they're doing, and they just give you a lot of fluff. And you're just like, well, those aren't specific tactics that I can take, right? Like those things don't help me. Or you're not able to actually identify because you just happen to get lucky. You just struck it rich in a good market. You just happen to be stuck with a leader that liked you and provided you more opportunity than the next person. Something externally happened that allowed you to be successful. It was not the specific things that you did that helped you be successful. So my favorite type of people are the ones that know what it is they're doing. I walk up to you and I say, you're the best, right? And you're like, I'm the best. I'm like, well, how'd you do that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are the things that you've implemented that has gotten you to where you are? Or like the 3 main things that have been pretty consistent that you make sure you hit on every single day?
Well, I mean, if we're talking from, let's talk from like a business perspective, right? Before I talk individual. There are a few things. I think leadership in general, or building a company in general, is not something that you're just born with. I think anybody can do it. I think anybody can be an effective leader, and I think anybody can build a company if they do it the right way. I don't think there are specific things that you need to have to be inherently a good business owner or a good leader. I think everyone can lead in different ways and with different characteristics. We've all had that coach that was like, this guy is an asshole, but he got the best out of me. And then we have that other coach that's like, this guy cared about me and got the best out of me. 2 different roads, same, and ended in the same area.
Right.
So for me, what works as a leader and as a business owner is, number one, I have a level of communication, a level of skill when it comes to communication. I said it earlier. I can speak to different people. I learn, I understand them. I'm very transparent, and I can talk to you the way that you want to be talked to. I may get it wrong for a few months, but eventually I'll figure out the best way to get to you. I also don't give up on anybody, so I can take my time to develop that relationship with you. So when I say something, you understand and you digest that communication. The plan is, and the plan's executed upon. So communication to me is like number 1. Number 2, and I said it too, I have a very high level of transparency. You know exactly what I'm thinking at any moment that I'm thinking it. You do not read in between the lines with a guy like me. If you read in between the lines with a guy like me, you're done. It won't work, because I'm just telling you like it is. You're going to start making things up in your mind. And I'm like, but I told you specifically what I needed from you, right? So I have a very high level of transparency. I say I'm sorry 5 times a day. I say, oh, that's on me. Or I say, hey, what do you think? Like, what's your opinion on this? Because, you know, I'm transparent. I'm vulnerable. Sometimes I don't have the answer to things. And I think people love that. Like, they want to hear that. Like, hey, I'm sorry. I told you I was going to do this. I didn't, but I'm going to take care of it right now, right? Instead of making up some sort of excuse. And I think the last thing, and it took me probably up until like a year ago before I realized this, I used to think that I have a very high level of empathy, and that made me a good leader. Okay. So empathy is a hole, and you're in that hole, and I will go into the hole with you and feel what you're feeling, right? But then what I realize is I don't have a very high level of empathy. I have an average level of empathy. And then I have a high level of compassion. Compassion is I'm not going to get in the hole with you. I'm going to figure out how to get you out of it.
Okay.
I'm going to move forward now. So this is where leaders mess up constantly. They're like, oh, I'm a very empathetic leader. You can't be an empathetic leader. You can't. Because when you're struggling, and inshallah one day you have kids and you realize this, you also can't be an empathetic parent. If your kid falls down and scrapes their knee, are you going to fall down, scrape your knee, and sit on the ground with them and cry with them? No, you're not. You're going to pick them up and say, it's okay. It's no big deal. We're going to get it cleaned up. Bruises happen. It's going to make you stronger. And you're going to move forward. That's compassion. And compassion is love. That's you love a person when you're moving them forward in life. You don't love a person when you're sitting on the ground with them and telling them, whatever you're sulking in, I'm going to sulk with you. You need to have both as a leader. But if you're missing the compassion part, you're never going to move forward in business. So and going back to it, that's what I always say. I used to say that I'm an empathetic leader. I'm not. I don't want to be in that hole with you. It's draining to be in that hole. I have 29 other people that I have to lead. And if I'm in a hole with you, what happens to them? But I am compassionate. I do lead with love. I have a lot of buy-in from you. I will get you out of that hole and will find ways to prevent you from going back there.
Yeah.
But, I'm not going to be in there with you all the time. Not unless it doesn't impact anybody else and I have the time to. Then I'll sit down and just say, I'm here to listen. Just talk to me. And I'll listen to you and I'll acknowledge it. So those are the three things. Communicate at a high level, just, be very transparent with people and have a good amount of empathy with compassion. I think you win there.
I never realized the difference between empathy and compassion. I thought how you explain compassionate, I translated that to I'm just solving their problem without understanding what their problem is. But the way you explained it, I think I like more, is you pick them up rather than sitting down. And I do agree that you should have both, but picking them up rather than solving the problem for them is, I think, a better way of looking towards compassion.
Yeah, I said that. I'm going to help you get out of the hole. I didn't say I'm going to go down there, pick you up, put you on my shoulder and walk you out of the hole. No, I'm going to help you figure it out. There's something that puts you there, and we got to first identify what puts you there, which is a good conversation I have with people all the time. So when they come into my office and you could tell there's something up, I always ask the question, are you venting or do you want me to solve a problem? Back to the communication piece. If
you ask that question?
Always.
Point blank.
Always. The minute they're like, hey, I got to talk to you. You know that. Hey, I got to talk to you. And I'd be like, all right, sounds good. Are you venting or do you want me to help you solve something? And it takes people, my people are used to it now, but it takes new people
Wait,
what are you talking about? I'm like, are you coming to me because you need me to solve a problem? Or are you coming to me because you got to get something off your chest? Because if you want to get something off your chest, I'm going to be a listener and I'm going to be empathetic. I'm going to sit in that hole with you. You can talk to me about your problems. I will listen. But we've all been there where it's like a leader jumps in and says, all right, here's how you fix it. You're like, dude, that's not what I want from you right now. Just let me cry, Yeah. Whereas when someone goes, no, I need you to solve a problem, then your compassion turns on.
Yeah.
Now compassion is moving somebody forward out of love, but it's like, I'm moving you forward now. Now you're going to tell me what your problem is. I'm going to be like, all right, let me hold your hand. Let me walk you through how we're going to do this. And then I teach you how to make sure you're not in that position again. And my hope is I'm developing you as a leader to go out there. And if anybody has this problem and they come to me, I'm going to be like, you know who can solve this for you? Jaffa can solve this for you. I just helped him with it last week. Go to him first. And I'm developing leaders at that point.
Yeah.
I'll always follow up and say, hey, did he help you? Yeah, kind of. All right, come in. Let me walk you through it. I may even bring you in and say, hey, let me bring you in. Because clearly what I taught you, you didn't digest it. Let's go over it again.
Right.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to try that. I think I want to ask that question.
Yeah.
Do you want to vent or do you want me to solve the problem? Or do you want help solving the problem?
I think you mentioned something about on a personal perspective too. That's a great way to handle things with your partner. Are you trying to vent or do you want me to solve the problem?
Yeah.
Sometimes I just want to vent, dude. Just shut up. Okay. Your wife has probably told you at one point, just shut up. I just want to talk. Let me get everything out, right? I've been with kids all day. I've been in this house. I've been cooped up. Let me just talk. And you're just like, all right, I'm here to listen.
This is the last one. It kind of summarizes everything we talked to in a pretty sarcastic way. You come into this world with nothing and you leave this world with nothing. Make sure your soul gained more than your hands did.
Say that one more time.
You come into this world with nothing and you leave this world with nothing. Make sure your soul gained more than your hands did.
Where'd you get that? That's deep.
Mm.
The reason I asked you to read it a second time is we're constantly in this thing where we think we have to give answers right away, where sometimes it's like you need to slow down and like listen one more time and just try to understand one more. And I hate to do this, but I'm gonna have you do it a third time because that quote is so deep where I just feel like I need to think about it one more.
You come into this world with nothing and you leave this world with nothing. Make sure your soul gained more than your hands did.
Backtrack through our entire conversation, and the first thing that comes to mind is when I said 3 or 4 times chasing money in the bigger box just doesn't make sense. That a lot of times it's the goals that you're trying to achieve in life. To me, making $100 feels like nothing, but giving away that $100 to somebody that needed it feels like everything. That quote could be stretched in a million different ways because people say like you're not buried with the things that you bought in life, right? When you're in the casket, you're just like the person next to you, regardless of whether you're a billionaire or you had nothing. That hits home to me because it's like I always talk a lot about legacy and the impression I try to leave on people. And in my industry, especially with how competitive it is, it's very surprising and very shocking when I feel like I always leave a good impression on people, but yet the business itself causes like friction. And I talked about not bragging and not saying we are number one because someone's going to listen to that and then they're going to be rubbed the wrong way, or they're going to figure out some sort of metric. They're going to sit on their computer for 4 hours and think of some sort of metric that proves that I'm not number one and they are number one, and they're going to post it or put it in the comments or whatever the case may be. And when that happens, I don't ever just let it go. I'm the first person to pick up the phone and I would say like, hey, I'm sorry if this offended you in any way, because I want to build a legacy where people know that I'm always coming from a good spot. It's never about the money that I'm building. Joe and I are not building Mortgage Connection to be the number one mortgage lender so we can go out there and have the nicest cars and the biggest homes. And I say it all the time, as I drive an F-150 and I really love my F-150. Could I go out there and get a Ferrari? I absolutely could. I could absolutely afford a Ferrari. Do I want the Ferrari? The answer is no, because when one of my guys is driving one of those electric cars that cost $150 a month or $200 a month, and I pull up in a Ferrari, I have a huge problem with that. That discrepancy. He's putting in the same amount of hours of work as me. Yeah, I'm the business owner, I'm taking the risk, but he's still putting in the time. And for there to be that big of a disparity or discrepancy between what he's making and what I'm making, that doesn't make me feel good. To be able to say, like, I can afford all these things and you can barely afford to pay your bill. Bill Bauer, I think Bill Burr, the bald comedian, political activist, bald comedian, he said something I read yesterday. He said, so your company's worth 1.5 trillion, that's fine, but none of your employees can afford to buy groceries. How about your company only be worth 900 million, but all your employees can afford to buy groceries? The person that he is, if he was running a company and he decided to take less money as the owner, less money as the CEO to make sure that his people can afford the same thing he affords, when that person passes on in the next life, regardless of whether you believe in a higher power or not, your soul is going to feel really good that every person that you interacted with, you took care of. Any person that ever had a problem with you, you've picked up the phone and you've solved it and you've had that conversation with them. So when I think about that line, that's what I think of. You know what? I got one more thing. This was a long conversation that you and I had, but I just feel like this is a good example. Of course. Good example. I can't believe we've been talking for almost an hour and 40 minutes. Man, I really hope I didn't delete this message between me and this individual. Here it is. I posted something June 12th at 5:24. It was the first time I ever bragged about Mortgage Connection being number one. I posted a list of the top lenders in Southeast Michigan. I said, we've seen the list. Your cousin who does mortgages is not on it, because everyone always says, my cousin can give me a better deal. We lead Southeastern Michigan and Wayne County in volume, speed, and deals closed, and we're just getting started. And then the call to action if you're looking to buy or sell, typical brag. And then I even put in the bottom where I'm quoting the metrics. So if anybody wants to search themselves, they all have access to the same data we have. So this random person that works at another company sent me 3 laughing emojis and said, I'll go ahead and send you guys other counties and states and see where you compete against us with a thumbs up. I seen that 8 days later because I just didn't check my DMs. And I replied to him and said, but I didn't say other counties and states. Why would this post trigger you so much, my friend? I wish you nothing but continued success and hope you and your team dominate. God bless. And then I followed him. I liked all his posts and I commented on all his posts. And then I called the person that he works with and said, do you know this person? He goes, yeah. I said, I want you to put him on the phone with me. And I got on the phone with him. I said, why did that trigger you so much? I go, I understand we're in a competitive industry, but if you would have posted that, I probably would have just liked it and said, great job. Keep up the good work. We don't need to be this competitive with each other. We can be, but on a good level. Let's raise both of our companies up instead of this being like a tit for tat type of thing. And ever since then, him and I have been great friends. All right.
Why did you think it was important to go that extra mile and get him on the phone rather than just be like, this person's just hyper competitive. It's not that serious. Keep my day moving.
I don't know. It's a bad habit of mine. Like I just can't leave things alone. If I feel like I've harmed you, I've hurt you in any way, I want to pick up the phone. I want to call. And I know I've done it to a bunch of people, but the fact that they never pick up the phone and they may call me and tell me, hey, when you said 1, 2, and 3, you ever just say something and you're like, someone took it the completely wrong way and you're like, I never meant it that way.
Yeah.
But you find out 5 years later and you're like, oh my God, this guy's been thinking like that about me this whole time. I've seen him at weddings. I've seen him at this. He shook my hand. I've introduced him to my kids.
Right.
But this whole time he thought I was a jerk because of what I've said. The world would be a better place if people just picked up the phone and just said, hey, can I talk to you about this real quick?
Yeah.
And you'll realize that 99% of people out there are not trying to harm you in any way. They may have said something out of spite. They may have said something because they were angry, but they're not trying to hurt you, right? But people don't pick up the phone. People don't want to have those conversations. I'll have those conversations all day. I'm an asshole. Yeah. I'll pick up the phone and I'll call you. I don't care.
Yeah.
Well, if you've done it to me or if I did it to you, I just want to resolve.
I will say if it sounds catastrophic, it's probably not that catastrophic.
Yeah.
Yeah. But back to the point of we come with nothing, leave with nothing, and we just need our soul to gain more than our hands did. When you make that $100 effortlessly, that's your hand physically gain something. When you give it away and it gives joy to someone who is in dire need of $100, that it's not the $100 that is feeding your soul. It's the joy or the emotion that you made the other person feel that's feeding your soul.
Yeah.
So in this conquest of life, if we go through it with the intention of feeding our soul, working on ourselves, because that also feeds the soul. When you sit down, you pray, you talk to God, all these things. Like these are all things that feed the soul. When you feed the soul, work on yourself and be the best as you can and give back the most you can. I feel like even though this whole conversation was fantastic, we bounced a bunch of different ideas at each other. That's what it's all about at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's
Feed the soul.
It's not the money. It's about what the money can help you do.
Yeah.
And hopefully that's the impact more lives.
You can go and buy Luna a $1,000 outfit. And then you can go get her, what does she like to do? Like, what's her favorite activity?
Right now, it's painting and arts and crafts.
Yeah, and then you get her a blank canvas with some paint. And you're like, Bubba, we're going to do this together.
She'll find more enjoyment out of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree 100%. We give so much to, and for all the leaders and people that are running companies and that watch this, we give so much to the outside world, whether it's donating for, tragedies that are happening overseas or people that are in dire need, or even the person on the corner begging for money and you hand them a $5 bill, right? But you can also look within. I mean, there are plenty of people that are even in my organization that transition from jobs and now work with us, and obviously they don't have the income that they want coming in right away, right? They have to take a little bit of a gap while they're building their income back up. There are plenty of people that you walk around and you talk to on a daily basis that are struggling, whether it's financially, emotionally, spiritually. Good leaders can see that stuff very, very fast. They can notice that, like, someone's Ubering to work, or someone wore the same shirt 2 days in a row, or someone's shoes are very dirty, but yet they still wear them every single day, right? You can, someone's emotionally not there towards the end of the month or in the beginning of the month, bills, right? You can notice those things. And instead of saying, oh, I donated X amount of dollars to feed the children, which is a very important cause, by the way, you can also look within and say, but this person that I see every day needs the help. And I can just take actions to make sure that they're taken care of. Especially as a business owner, it's a lot easier. I don't have to physically give you money. I can give you better opportunity that you can now go earn more money, and now you're fixing your life. But then my job is to figure out through compassion how you got yourself in there and how to move forward and get yourself out of it, right?
Yeah. Is there anything that we didn't talk about today that you think we should have?
No. I love the flow of this conversation. You and I have been friends for a very long time.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of these conversations you and I have already had. I hope that people take things away from this conversation. I hope especially the people that are being led on a daily basis take things away from this conversation to realize that the people that lead you every day have an extremely hard job and have to make very, very tough decisions. While you may think it impacts you in a negative way, it may be greater for it may be for the greater good of the company or for the greater good of the employees that are there. Sometimes you got to take a step back and say, this may hurt me in some way, but long term, the company is going to exist because of a decision like this. And I love being here. Realizing that those decisions are made every single day and not to take them personal. And lastly, realizing that I hate to say the word boss. I'm not a fan of that word, but your boss or your leader or your manager, who they are in the workplace should be very different than who they are
on a personal level.
On the personal level, it should be. On a personal level, I don't want to gain from you in any way. On a personal level, I don't want to have to make decisions that impact your life. Your life is your life. My life is mine. It's personal, right?
Right.
But from a business decision, I have to make very tough choices, and that may impact you. Don't allow those decisions to make you think that I'm a horrible person. I am not, or vice versa. I have a decision to help you doesn't make me a great person outside. Right. I could be a jerk outside, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's important to know.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Thank you, Ali.
Habibi, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.